This is a short video showing how to build a cushion. This is when Sailrite gave classes. We soon discovered that doing videos would reach more people.
This is Reflex Plus I'm using on this cushion, and normally I wouldn't use this for an outdoor cushion. This is dry fast, and this is the kind of cushion that you would put outside. You have it in 4-inch and 2-inch, and the water goes straight through it, okay?
And this is closed cell foam,
which is a hard cushion, but no water can get inside of it. All right? The customer had a project where they need to make a very sharp bend with the pad, and so I cut this out and put the glue in, and then made this. So you can see you can do any shape. On a boat that I worked on, it was a Choi Lee 41 sailboat, and it had one of those arches in where the cockpit was, and I cut the foam out to fit that shape. And how you do that?
What do you do? Take a wedge out of there?
Yeah, this is what you do. Okay, so basically you want to make really small slits in it. You do it to a good bend. Cut it. Like that. And like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch over, do the same thing. And this is all you're taking out, very little. And you do it, every so often, and it starts to bend. Okay, you just spray inside of there, and I usually wedge it in something for it to stay for a few minutes, and that's about that. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about cutting the foam, and I made a pattern, and my pattern is my cushion needs to be 17 by 17 inches. Okay, and I am adding a 1/2 inch to every side, so it really makes my cushion 18 by 18. Okay. And the reason why you add a 1/2 inch is you get a nice full cushion that way, and it gives you that 1/2 inch seam allowance that you're going to need on the top. Okay, how I cut this, and it all depends on what shape the cushion. If I have to cut it diagonal or if I have to cut straight, however you do it. Sometimes it helps to have someone on the other side guiding you. Okay, so when I'm cutting like this. You can't hurt your hand on it if you hold on top, so the other person could be holding and guiding for you. This one I think I can do. Fabric selection. This is called Tex, and it's a great fabric. It doesn't get dirty. Water goes through it, and so therefore it would go through the foam too. So I just love this fabric. It's one of my favorites. And of course there's Sunbrella, which everybody knows, and vinyl. And you can do leather, you can do basically anything in your boat, inside. Outside you have to be careful.
On the bottom side of cushions, many people choose cushion underlining material as shown here in the gray, or Tex. That's especially used on vinyl materials where the fabric does not breathe. This material makes it possible for the foam to dry out quickly on the bottom side.
We're ready to cut the plate. Okay, I set this up so that I'm not doing the whole cushion tonight. It's too hard to, it takes too long to do the whole thing. So I'm going to show you what I did so far. This is my plate. It's close to the 18 inches by 18 inches that I want, so I'm going to finish cutting it.
Chris cuts the top plate the exact same size as the top of the foam, the bottom plate the exact same size as the bottom of the foam, and the boxing the same width as the foam.
These cutting boards are wonderful because they have all the measurements on it, and all I have to do is line this up, and of course this is a dream. You can see that it cuts it just like that, and you get everything perfectly straight. It's a wonderful tool. She wanted to know how you make piping, if you didn't have pre-made piping.
you take the fabric and you make sure that one edge is straight, and then after you've done that, you cut all fabric for making welting should be 1 inch and 3/8. So 1 3/8 inch, and it has to be even, because if you don't make it even, it'll not look right on the cushion.
And I usually staple. This gives me a 1/2 inch seam allowance. See, I usually staple this and start it. Yeah, start it and then use the rest with my hands. Okay. All right. So that's how to make it. Now we're going to cut the zipper boxing. And I had an extra piece here somewhere. Okay. I've already cut mine, but I want to show you how it's done. You take 4 inches, which is how thick my cushion is, okay? You can find your 4 inches on here, and you add your zipper width, okay? That ends up being about 5 3/16, I think, okay? So then that's where you're going to cut. So that's the piece. Then you take the piece after you cut it, and you fold it in half, okay? And that's the size for each zipper side, okay? So you're cutting this in half, completely in half, and that's how I got these pieces, okay? The next thing I do is I take my zipper, and I don't suggest using seam stick for cushions, period. There's a couple reasons. On Pfeiffer Tex, it shows through. You get a glossy, like, mirror finish on it, and you'll see it. It gets dirty because dirt will stick to it. On Sunbrella, the right where the cording, where this is, right here, it gets dirty from your body oil. Now I'm using this for a zipper, but I can pull it out when I'm done sewing it. I'm just doing it right next to the zipper. And the reason why I'm using it on this is because this is really important to get exact. You see that I'm placing the zipper with the teeth facing in, okay? And of course, if you were to do a pattern that was bad on one side, good on the other, I think I wrote on the instructions to make sure that you put it on the good side.
So this Pfeiffer Tex doesn't have a right side and a wrong side?
No, it's good on both sides. That's what one
What
of the
about
things.
Sunbrella?
Good on both sides.
About the zipper, as long as the teeth are facing this way, can the zipper be laid?
It doesn't matter which way,
Okay.
as long as it's facing.
All of the teeth are going that way.
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
doesn't matter. Okay, so I have that completely stuck down. So anyway, this is going to be, I'm doing this.
You got a zipper foot.
No, I don't need a zipper foot for this particular application. You might on the red machine, but this one I can move this back and forth. Okay? Okay. Always remember to go back and over your stitches. Always remember to lock it. So I'm using my zipper as a guide. You can see I can go relatively fast to do it, especially since that seam stick is on there. And I can see that lift up a little bit, so I'm going to straighten it out. And lock this side. All I have to do is take it off. Yeah, I did it earlier. I know I can do it.
If you don't take it off right away, this is the problem. You got to do it right away. So don't leave it to sit overnight.
Yeah. See
But
how
if you
it
do it
comes
right
off
away,
real
it comes
easy?
out nice.
Okay.
And it will do the same thing to Sunbrella, so it'll come off Sunbrella very nicely.
Yeah. Now, I did happen to use a very thin seam stick for this because I just cannot get, you don't want to get the stitch in it because you won't get the seam stick out, okay? Now this particular fabric is easy too because when I bend this over, okay, to cover the zipper, okay, it happens to be a line in it, and this fabric, so all I have to do is bend it, and it's already there where I want it. And then I sew this side, same way, I turn it over, I put my foot on this side, and put my stitch on this side.
This quarter thing, yeah, I'm totally doing this.
Okay. And that's still good. Ask you during the making of this to do this twice. You'll see why. All right, because this is a stripe, I'm matching up those lines. Okay. bend. When I was making that cushion, I put this on backwards. Be careful. That's happened more than once. It's usually very easy to start it. Looks pretty good. Okay, I take it all the way off, okay? The reason why is I want, when I sew this on, I don't want that, the end to be splayed open, because the first step I'm gonna do here is sew it to, oh, I haven't sewn this. I haven't cut this yet. Here's the rest of my cushion. Here's a zipper, okay? And this one you can see I went a lot further. I prefer to go a lot further. It's so much easier to put a cushion in than to do it close, okay? So leave it up to yourself. I don't think this looks bad to see. It's covered, it looks nice, and I prefer to do it longer than that. This piece is for the rest.
6 inches maybe.
Okay? Yeah, about 6 inches. I think that's what I wrote in the instructions. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the two good sides, which this one doesn't matter, and you put them together like that, okay? I'm going to go over there and I'm going to sew about 3/8 of an inch in. Now, you can go quickly up to the zipper, but don't go quickly over the zipper because you don't want to break your needle. Always locked. And if you kind of pass over with your hand, you can feel whether you've hit it or not, and then back it off. Okay, this time I'm only going to do one run across it because I'm about to do it again. I'm taking my piece that's now together and I'm flipping it, okay? So now I have that, right? But I want to bring it up a little further and stitch it back down again, okay? That gives it a... Yeah, let me show you closer. Yeah, it's like covering itself. Yeah, so at first I sew it like that. I turn it over, and I just bring this in a little bit, maybe to about a 1/2 inch. Okay.
That way you
And
can
I sew that again.
you can bury your slider that way.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Only you can bury your slider only if you don't stitch all the way up to the zipper.
Exactly.
Okay, so it
Leave
the
the
whole
whole
thing.
thing off, right, yeah.
Looks like the hole on your hands when you got a big piece of.
Okay. And I didn't do a particularly wonderful job because I'm off a little bit, but it's not going to matter. Okay, now I completely take it apart again, and the reason is because I need this end to be closed when I get to it. Okay. But I need to have my zipper on there so that when I do close it, it's there, because I've done that before too.
I know. Have to get put it on tightly.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Okay, so now my zipper's in completely, alright? Cut this and put the welting on, okay? And that's to save a lot of time. And what I would normally do is have both of my pieces together, okay? I like to use a cone to mark the corners. Eric will stitch his welting on without doing the corners, but I believe that when you do this, you get an exact same corner on every corner of your cushion. It doesn't matter how big your corner is, you can make it bigger. This is like, for this size, it's a nice little corner. So I cut those off because it's easier for me to follow this curve cut off with the welting than it is to look for that line. Yeah, and it has to be done anyway. So top means it's the top, zipper means it's the back. Okay, and it's really imperative that you do this, especially for funky different shaped cushions. I cannot tell you how many times if I've lost a piece of tape how I've had to undo a whole cushion because I had the wrong piece in the wrong place. So make sure that you mark it. Because I want it to be exactly in the same place when I do the next step.
What about vinyl?
I wouldn't do that because you will see a hole in it. Okay, so in your case, you could staple it just at the edge where your sewing is not, or where you're not going to see it. Okay. Okay. Couple things for the zipper. There's 2 steps I'm just going to cover right now. I have folded this in half in the back because I want to know where the center of this panel is for the zipper. Okay. That way I get a completely even zipper from here to here. Okay. The other thing is I've already no, I haven't made any on this side. Okay. So then I like to, every side I like to put 2 darts.
For big cushions, even more sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
For super
Okay.
long.
Yep, just a dart.
I can't tell you how important this is, this part. This is very important.
If you don't do it, your cushion could possibly get out of whack and it won't be square. So he's saying you could do, however many. I like to do 2 or 3. About on a big cushion, it's usually about every foot or so. All right, trick number 2 you're going to owe me for. This is one of those penny rolls that I put magnets in. And so when I'm taking staples out, all I have to do is throw it there and it just sticks to my magnet. And they don't get all over your boat and rust it. And the other trick, this is a weird one. I was trying to find something that did not stick, that this did not stick, like a screwdriver, because it really becomes a pain when things stick to it. This is a wine opener. It's made out of pot metal, so I covered it up because it's got those sharp edges, and it works perfect. Okay. You have to get creative. Okay, so that's done. It says to cut this, get it in half, and have a dart in the center. And this is also where the beginning and ending of your welting will be. I go about 1 inch over, past the dart. And you can get this stapler at, don't staple close to the cording, okay? That's too close, yeah. You can get this stapler like at McDonald's Hardware or Ace Hardware. It's the best thing. It has tiny staples, and it's very comfortable holding it. I find it easier than a desk stapler. And of course, this is not perfectly straight, so I can see how it's bending, and I play back and forth how it's bending on it.
But you didn't do this. This came like this?
This is pre-made. No, I cut all those into myself. And aren't I perfect at it?
She's making her.
I know.
She's
I'm
making her.
No, you are not. And it's only at the corners.
Yeah.
And you'll see that when I do the side panels, okay?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh.
So, okay. This is the longest part of the whole thing.
So you're actually going to staple the whole thing on before you go sew it?
Yep.
Okay.
It really does come out prettier. It really does.
Yeah.
Unless you're a real expert, if you're doing them all
You see how I'm
day.
turning and I'm making sure that it matches my corner, correct? Some fabrics will stretch, and you have to be careful. When you're done stapling this and you lay it down and you see a little bubble right here, you need to pull it out. You got to get rid of that bubble. It should be completely flat. And we all know I'm opinionated.
Oh, yeah, sitting on that.
All right, turning again.
That's okay.
This, I've gone a little bit further than my little cut, and I'm coming over this way, and I'm cutting over the same amount, okay? I'm opening this one up. About 1 inch. And I cut out the piping. And then I look underneath and I find where that one meets this one, which is right there. I cut a little bit of this stuff off, 'cause I don't need it all. And I stick it inside, cover up this one, and I staple it. Okay, so you have your nice edge. There's other ways to do it, some very complicated ways to do it, but I don't think it's worth it to make it look where there's a seam in here. On our machines, we have back here a little welting concave part cut out so that you can just guide this.
It's on the foot.
It's on the foot.
It's a groove in the foot.
Mhm.
On all of the foot's grooving, on the red machine too?
Yes. Yes. Okay,
Is it on all of
this part I want to go over twice, so I'm starting here and then I'm going to finish here, okay? Now this is where I have to be careful that as I go, see how it's pushing it? That's why you want to do it the backwards way, and not like I did it.
And you've got it over to the left.
Okay, that's good enough. All right, so I want to, even though I stapled this, I want to make sure that I'm straight on everything because this stuff tends to wobble around. So I want to make sure as I'm sewing that it's straight. So this I can go pretty quick because it's catching this perfectly. And when I get to my corner, now's the time I have to hand sew. By slowly, one stitch at a time, make sure I don't get over the cording. Make sure I get close to the cording, because if you don't get close to the cording, you will see it in your finished product. And the more time you spend on this part of it, the better your cushion will look.
That's where the little handle comes in nice.
Yeah, there's one on there. Okay, a couple more. Alright, so I'm straight now again. Not quite in that hole, but I can guide it well enough that I can go. Okay. Make sure it's straight. Now, like I said, I did the staples to show you guys how a beginner would do it. You literally can sew this at the same time and not have to staple it, okay? It takes a lot less time if you don't have to. Now, the first thing I do is I look at my the whole entire cushion to make sure that I've gotten close. And I can see right here, from here to here, I did not, because look how close that one is. So I'm just going to go back. Just, you know, now's the time to fix it. Mm-hmm. And I look over the whole entire cushion when I do this, okay? That's closer. Much better. And I'm going to look here. That's really good. Really good. And that's my only mistake. Now, right side up.
Right side up.
Zipper.
Yeah, it goes
Right
in the
side
right
down. Okay? Oh, I forgot to do this. We're going to take the zipper, like I said in the instructions, and make a dart halfway through the zipper. And this one I can actually look down this line. No, not quite. I'm going to do it again then. This is important that this is straight too. Okay. So now I lay my zipper, and I'm right-handed, so I like to go from right to left. And I just start here on this on the first middle dart, okay? And I staple. And I probably don't need to use as many on this one because this is pretty stiff fabric. Okay, I've come across a dart. Yep, I've come across a dart, and I need to cut it. And if I was using Sombrella, I would take like a triangle, you know, one that could follow this line and go up. But since it's this stuff, I can look basically straight and have cut my dart on the bottom. And this is so this matches the next plate, okay? Okay, here's a part that we have to, I'll learn.
Do you have that in your boat? Probably.
Okay, we're turning a corner, and I have to snip. Don't go further than where your stitch is going to be, so about 3/8 of an inch. And I just do about every 1/4 inches. I snip it. And this is so I can turn the corner. Turn it around. Might as well do this side while I'm here, because it's easier to do it without the plate on. So I find where I started it there, come down here. If you go too far, you'll put holes in your cushion, so don't want to do that.
And that's why you need really sharp.
Is now I'm having to force this fabric to turn, okay? So I just want to keep making sure that I get that right on my curve. See how I'm turning it and getting it on the curve there? Does everybody see that?
Just fan it out.
Yeah, I'm fanning it out, but slowly. And I tend to use a lot of staples on the curve because I want it to stay. See how this is folded down. That's why I sewed it the way I did, so that this lays down. Okay. Besides that, giving it double reinforcement. I'm bleeding again, Eric.
You can see that. It's touch up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where all the
Yeah.
trouble comes in.
Okay. Here's the really hard part: is figuring out this, how this goes together. Okay. The zipper's going around the corner, so I have to finish this side. Thank you. She's paying attention.
Let it go. Teamwork. Then we could have watch how she can correct.
Yeah.
No quarter for you.
Oops.
This is how you take out your stitches.
Okay.
See, I'm glad
Alright.
you're saying that a professional.
Oh no, it's
has
hard.
problems too, because
All right,
they
so
always-
this time I'm gonna go this way. Now, even though I am not, I cannot sew it until these pieces are together, I'm gonna go ahead and staple it because it tells me exactly where it's gonna be. You can see now why I like to go from left to right, because this way I have to pick up the staple.
Yes, I do.
It helps to have a second person do this too.
Yeah, you could hold.
Just go.
Yeah.
You have to have a son though.
Oh,
I've got 3
dang.
daughters, they can do it.
Okay.
They can staple.
Our husband's capable of that.
Probably not.
I'm gonna take my staple out. Okay, I staple this last piece down. Can you see this, Eric?
Yep.
Okay. And I take this and I go over that piece, okay? And I take a marker.
Nice people play.
Because I want to go just like the other side, about a 1/2 inch in, okay? And I want to fold it. And then I want to cut it. I guess I didn't really need to mark it. This looked good, didn't it? Okay. And now, this goes.
Oh, that's right. Oh gosh, that's right. It's cruel. It's so
Yeah, it goes here, and then I staple it. Now, her problems that she might have had, I'm gonna have to unstaple some of this. If your darts are not correct, does anybody see the lid to this? Thanks. If your darts are not correct, then the next side will be messed up, and you'll have to adjust this. But I'm gonna
You're so
pray.
accurate that, see, I would have left 2 inches.
Yeah. Well,
Because
and
you
I
gotta
put
go
on,
out
I
way.
put in the
Gotcha.
notes to leave much more than I
Okay,
did,
okay.
but I feel comfortable.
Yeah,
And if
'cause
I'm
it's so
wrong,
perfect.
oh my God. So now I have to undo this because I can't get to sewing this with all this staples. I need about that much room, okay? So,
Couch or bench. Yeah, it's got a curved bench in the back and then 2 benches in the
Which is
front.
okay.
How much is that? How much? What do you weigh? Did you look at them all? How they hold them up?
Whisper, don't jump.
So mine's only
The one hand doing this little needle
4.5 years old.
for the
But I got too much sun on it, so I need to place
zipper,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this time I only did one, and I want to go back and do it again, just for strength, okay? Because this gets a lot of stress when you're stuffing the zip or the foam in there.
I'm kind of amazed you can sew without a pin in your mouth. And see, don't you always have a pin in your mouth?
No, because I guess I never use them. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So you're just taping it back together.
Any questions yet? So, what am I looking for? My back, okay, so I know that this has to be put on here. Now I like to open up the zipper. I'll get it real quick. Someone unzip that for me.
Oh, I got one. Oh.
So, same thing, I just start again. Start in the middle.
And this is great because you've already trimmed the corners.
Uh-huh, that's why I did it the first time. It's easier to do it because now it's hard to do it, okay? Because I'm putting pressure on the cushion now. And if I made this cushion right,
Did you do little cuts? Look at you.
see how the V gets in there? It's very, very, very close. See how the V ended up? This one that's up here is the same place here, match the plate. Okay, that's why it's important. If it doesn't match up by 1/8 of an inch, you might get away with it, but after that, it really will, it'll torque your cushion. It'll, make it turn. And when you're making piping, I have a trick of the trade to tell you about. This stuff here, that clear stuff, remember that we sewed? When you buy it, take it home, boil some water, and just dump the whole thing in the water, and it'll relax it, yes, because this is kinky in itself, and if you make a lot of it, it may twist inside here. So I've learned that if you throw it in a pot of boiling water, it relaxes it. You take it out and just kind of lay it big. It gets bigger.
What
How
happens
long
when
do you
it
boil
cools?
it?
Nothing. You want it to get bigger. It comes on a roll that's like this big.
Oh, I see.
So when it relaxes, it gets
takes
bigger
that memory
loops.
out of it. I got
Yeah.
it. Oh, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
How long do you leave it for?
Oh, you'll see it happens in seconds. Yeah, it doesn't hurt it either. See how I ended up there again?
Hope your husband doesn't eat them. No.
Now, I have never attempted to do this without stapling. I can put my piping on, but not put this together because it's so hard to manipulate all three of these layers and try to keep that piping underneath that little groove that we talked about, that you don't have time to worry about whether your fabric is straight on here or not. So definitely staple here. Yeah. So I'm going backwards now, and you can see it's correct. So, it's just hard for me to staple backwards.
I see, you're stapling the other side.
Yeah, to make sure that as I come this way,
Yeah.
it lines up. And it's gonna. It's gonna take some work.
And if it didn't, what would you do?
I'll adjust it. I'll take some of these staples out and stretch it. I mean, it's not 1/8 of an inch you can get away with. It's after that that's kind of hard.
Right.
But I think it's gonna be fine. So we'll see in a second here. Yep. Okay. You don't see the corner or the piping, so you kind of run your hands and look for it. Okay. Lock it. And the machine does a pretty good job of finding it through that little tunnel, but you want to make sure. Now, if I am paying attention to this, I notice that my overhang right here is about not even like a 1/16 of an inch. So I know if I see more than that, then I've gone over it the wrong way. If I see it go this way, then I'm not close enough to it. Okay? So I kind of pay attention to that. Okay, here comes the hard part. You got to bend all this fabric back to get it out of your way. Okay? You can have creases on this side, but you don't want creases here. Okay? So you just got to play with it until you. And just like before, I'm going to hand sew it.
Boy, that's where that other reel really comes in handy.
Yeah. It gets pretty quick.
I'm so glad you're doing that because I always thought that was kind of goofy to walk it through like that, but I'm glad that's how it's done.
And sometimes the staples or the fabric will get caught up here. You just kind of have to feel it. I can lift up this back up and get that the way I want it.
With the needle buried, then she doesn't have to worry about it moving.
Yeah, coming out.
That's when you got them too.
I done, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm just doing the other side.
It's like a,
I'm not going to take the, because I know you guys don't want to be here forever. I'm not going to take the staples out.
Yeah, that's.
where you have to take it out, the whole piece out.
Okay, I can go straight again. I'm going over this hump of this.
When it
Better.
goes up.
I gotta take more notes.
But you have to take the dry cleaning bag out too with that. You just kind of peel it around the back. And,
It's a good one.
How's it coming out?
Oh, that didn't.
Great.
That didn't seem like it went
There
out.
is-
Bag out with a vacuum?
no, you suck the air out of the cushion, so
Compress
it
everything.
shrinks all the way down with the plastic bag. Shrinks it in, it makes it real tiny. And
Sometimes I walk on the cushion to get the corners to fit in. And this didn't come out too bad.
It's amazingly incredible.
So now is the time to take this off. Okay? See, you all can do it now.
Thanks for watching this edited version of the Cushion class in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. To join the class, check out the Sailrite website and look for the schedule. We'll also be sending out newsletters and emails. Thanks again.